The stars had always belonged to humanity, or so they thought. For centuries, humans had reached out beyond the solar system, building colonies on distant planets, terraforming barren worlds, and sending ships that could travel faster than light. Among the proudest of these human pioneers were the people of Lyra 9, a shining jewel in the spiral arms of the Milky Way. Lyra 9 was a planet of blue oceans and green continents, home to brilliant minds and brave hearts. Its people were explorers, engineers, scientists, and warriors. They believed that nothing could stop them, not even the vast, cold emptiness of space. But now, everything had changed. Captain Alara Venn stood on the bridge of the starship Odyssey staring at the view screen. The Lyran fleet stretched behind her like a silver ribbon of hope and despair. Ships of all sizes, from massive colony carriers to nimble scout vessels, drifted in formation, their engines glowing faintly against the blackness of space. "Status report," Alara said, her voice calm but carrying the weight of command. Lieutenant Relo, her communications officer, tapped at his console. "All ships are functional, Captain. Fuel reserves are low. Supplies are holding, but only for 3 standard cycles without resupply." Alara nodded. "Good. And the alien patrols?" Relo hesitated. "Still in pursuit, but they're not close. At this speed, we have some distance, but they will catch up if we slow down." Alara clenched her jaw. They were running, not fighting, and they had no safe place left to run to. The Galactic Coalition, a powerful alliance of alien species, had declared them criminals. Not because the Lyrans had done anything wrong, but because fear and suspicion made the Coalition see humans as a threat. In one swift decision, the Lyra 9 colonies had been stripped, and the people were cast out into the void. "They think this will end us," Alara murmured, almost to herself. "They don't know humans." Behind her, a young prodigy named Kieran leaned over a console, his eyes wide as he watched the stars shift past the window. Kieran was just 17, but his mind was brilliant beyond his years. He had helped design the Odyssey's navigation systems, creating algorithms that allowed them to evade enemy sensors. Still, the fear in his chest was real. "Captain," Kieran began but hesitated. Alara turned. "Yes? Do you think we'll find a new home? Somewhere safe?" His voice was small, almost like a whisper against the hum of the ship. Alara took a deep breath and knelt to meet his eyes. "Kieran, humans survive because we don't give up. Even when everything seems lost, even when the stars turn against us, we keep going. That is what makes us human. That is why we will survive." Kieran nodded, though the worry did not leave his face. The fleet drifted in silence for a moment, only the faint hum of the ships filling the void. Then an alarm sounded, sharp and urgent. "Incoming transmission," Relo shouted. "It's from the Coalition flagship." Alara's eyes narrowed. The message was not a request for negotiation. It was a warning. "Leave this sector immediately or face annihilation." "They want us to die out here," she said, her voice hard. "They want to erase everything we built, but why?" Kieran asked, his voice trembling. "Because humans are unpredictable," Alara said simply. "Because we fight when others surrender, because we survive when others fail." The Lyran fleet adjusted course, slipping into the dark lanes between star clusters. They traveled farther than any human had ever gone, into uncharted regions of space. Every passing day brought new dangers. Rogue asteroids, nebulae that could fry a ship's electronics, strange gravitational anomalies that bent light and time. And yet humans adapted. Engineers worked day and night to repair damaged engines. Pilots navigated through hazards that no alien would dare cross. And the people of Lyra 9 held on to hope, even when hope seemed impossible. One evening, in the artificial light of the Odyssey's mess hall, the crew gathered. They shared stories of home, of planets and cities they might never see again. They laughed and sometimes cried and always remembered that they were not alone. "Captain," Relo said as he joined her later, "I've been monitoring alien broadcasts. They call us exiles, traitors, dangerous. But they also admire us in a way." Alara raised an eyebrow. "Admire after everything they've done?" Relo shrugged. "It's strange. They fear humans, yes, but they notice how we survive even when surrounded, even when outnumbered." Alara looked out at the stars. "Let them fear us. We don't exist to please them. We exist to live." Days passed. Kieran spent hours at the console, poring over charts of star systems, hoping to find a hint of a habitable planet. He discovered small signals, derelict satellites, abandoned colonies from species that had vanished long ago. Each signal told a story of survival and loss, and Kieran felt a strange connection to those long-gone civilizations. Perhaps humanity could learn from them, perhaps even reclaim some of what they had lost. One night, Kieran called Alara to the navigation deck. "Captain, I think I found something." Alara leaned over his shoulder. "What is it?" "A planet. Not mapped in any human records. Atmosphere is breathable. Gravity is similar to Earth. It's far, but it might sustain us." Alara felt a spark of hope. She had trained herself not to expect miracles, but miracles sometimes came in the form of data points and distant worlds. "Prepare the fleet. We will go there. It may not be home, but it's a chance." As the fleet adjusted course toward the uncharted planet, a shadow fell over them. A small squad of alien warships emerged from a nebula, moving with precision and purpose. They were fast, deadly, and outnumbered the Lyrans 10-1. Alara stood on the bridge, hands tight on the railing. "All hands, brace for engagement." The warships fired, and the void erupted with flashes of energy. Shields flared and alarms screamed. But the Lyrans were not defeated. They moved with skill, weaving through the enemy attacks, returning fire when openings appeared. Kieran's calculations guided the fleet, predicting enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. Minutes stretched like hours. The Lyrans fought with courage and ingenuity, their ships performing maneuvers no alien ship expected. Slowly, inch by inch, they escaped the ambush, leaving the enemy behind in a cloud of debris and confused pursuit. When the battle ended, silence returned to the bridge. The fleet was battered, some ships damaged, but they had survived. Alara exhaled, her face lined with exhaustion and relief. "This is who we are," she said quietly. "Even when the stars turn against us, even when the universe seems determined to erase us, we endure, and we will find a place to call home." Kieran smiled, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "Maybe the stars aren't turning against us, maybe we're just finding our way." Alara nodded. "Yes. And when we do, the universe will see something it has never seen before. Humans who were cast out, but refused to vanish." As the Lyran fleet slipped deeper into the unknown, the stars stretched endlessly around them, indifferent, cold, and yet full of possibility. Humanity had been exiled, yes, but as long as they breathed, as long as they dared to dream and fight, they would endure. And one day, perhaps, the universe would witness the true strength of those who refused to bow, who refused to surrender, who carried the spark of humanity across the dark void. The Lyran fleet sailed through the endless black of space, each ship a fragile spark of humanity against the dark. Weeks had passed since the ambush by the alien warships. Supplies were dwindling, engines strained, and hope, though stubborn, flickered like a candle in a storm. Captain Alara Venn moved from ship to ship, inspecting systems, comforting crews, and reminding everyone of one simple truth. Humans survived because they refused to surrender. But even she could not hide the weight of despair pressing against her chest. On the Odyssey, the crew gathered for a status meeting. The star maps displayed a maze of uncharted systems, dangerous nebulae, and empty space where no world seemed suitable for habitation. Lieutenant Relo tapped the screen, highlighting dwindling fuel reserves and ration limits. "We can't keep this pace," Relo said, frowning. "The engines are wearing out faster than we can repair them. Supplies are enough for 4 more cycles if we ration carefully." Alara's jaw tightened. "And the nearest known habitable planet?" Relo shook his head. "Unknown. Too far to reach without risking total depletion of resources." The room fell silent. No one spoke, but everyone understood. They were alone. Truly alone. In a corner, Kieran hunched over a console, analyzing signals intercepted from abandoned satellites, derelict ships, and scattered communications. His fingers danced over the keys, eyes wide with both curiosity and worry. "Captain," he said suddenly, breaking the silence, "I think I found something." Alara walked over, her boots echoing on the metal deck. "Show me." Kieran pointed to a faint blip on the display. "I'm not sure what it is. It's old, maybe centuries, but there's a structure, a station, possibly abandoned, and there's a signal embedded in it like a message waiting to be found." Alara's eyes narrowed. "How far?" 2 standard light cycles away. "We could reach it if we push the engines hard." Relo frowned. "It could be a trap. Could be another alien faction or worse. Nothing at all. Alara considered it. They had little choice. Prepare the fleet. We take the risk. Send small scouting teams first. We need to know what's out there. The Lyran fleet adjusted course, engines thrumming with tense energy. The long journey through the void tested every system and every person. Days turned into nights measured by artificial light and routine. Crew members slept in shifts, monitored systems, and maintained the fragile life support structures. But even in the routine, danger waited. A rogue asteroid field loomed ahead, each massive rock moving unpredictably. Sensors screamed warnings as the fleet approached. Pilots maneuvered with precision, weaving through the deadly ballet of spinning stones. One misstep would have crushed them all. Steady. Steady, now. Alara called, her voice calm but sharp. She had flown through danger before, but never like this. The asteroid field was vast, chaotic, and merciless. Kieran's calculations guided the Odyssey through, his algorithms predicting shifts and rotations. Every movement had to be exact. 1 second too early or late, one miscalculation, and the fleet would be torn apart. Hours passed, and finally the fleet emerged on the other side, battered but intact. Cheers echoed through comms, brief and fragile, like the first sparks of a new fire. When they reached the coordinates of the abandoned station, silence returned. The structure floated in orbit around a small dead planet. Its metal hull was scarred, some parts missing, but it was intact. Lights blinked faintly, almost as if the station had been waiting for them. Alara's heart quickened. "Prepare a landing party," she ordered. "We need to know what's inside. Every scrap of information could help us survive." Kieran, Relo, and a small team of engineers and security officers boarded a shuttle. As they descended toward the station, they saw the true scale of it. Towers of metal reached into the void, docking bays yawning open like mouths. The station had clearly been a research or trade hub, abandoned long ago. Inside, the air was stale, recycled through old filters, but breathable. Lights flickered, consoles hummed faintly, and the silence was profound. Kieran immediately began scanning the systems, searching for data, schematics, and logs. "What happened here?" one engineer muttered. Awe and fear mingled in his voice. "Why was it abandoned?" Kieran tapped the screen. "I think there was a disaster, some kind of internal conflict or system failure. But the logs, they show technology, advanced technology. If we can salvage even half of it." Alara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we will. We survive, remember? That's what humans do." Hours turned into cycles as the landing team explored. They found storage rooms filled with ancient tools, energy cores, and supplies. They discovered archives of alien knowledge, maps of distant systems, formulas for energy manipulation, and records of long-lost civilizations. And then Kieran found it, a small device, almost unremarkable but pulsing with energy. "Captain, this is strange. It's some kind of artifact. I don't understand it yet, but it feels alive somehow." Alara examined it. "Be careful. We don't know what it does," but Kieran couldn't resist. He touched the artifact, and a holographic projection sprang to life. Ancient symbols, geometric shapes, and moving diagrams filled the air. Information flowed too fast to read, yet Kieran understood pieces of it instinctively. The artifact contained knowledge of navigation, energy systems, and even survival techniques that no human had ever seen. This could help us reach a safe planet," Kieran whispered, awestruck. Alara nodded slowly. "It's a gift, or a warning. Either way, we must use it wisely." Back on the fleet, repairs and refueling took priority. The salvage supplies allowed engines to run at higher efficiency, food rations to stretch, and medical facilities to operate at full capacity. For the first time in weeks, the fleet moved with renewed hope. But hope in space is fragile. A sudden alert flashed across the Odyssey's bridge. Sensors detected movement near the fleet, fast, small ships approaching. Unknown alien vessels, possibly scouts, closing in with silent precision. Alara's hands tightened on the console. "All hands, battle stations. Prepare to evade and defend. We cannot afford another direct fight." The fleet maneuvered with coordination born of necessity. Smaller ships darted between larger ones, engines glowing, shields flaring. The alien ships fired, but the Lyrans anticipated their moves. Kieran's artifact calculations guided evasive patterns, predicting enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. Hours of tense maneuvering passed. Then, unexpectedly, the alien ships retreated. They did not pursue. Whether they were testing the Lyrans or simply cautious, it did not matter. The fleet had survived again. Alara exhaled, relief washing over her. Every day we survive, we grow stronger. Every challenge teaches us. And one day we will find a place to call home. As the fleet continued its journey through the void, Kieran studied the artifact relentlessly. Pieces of its knowledge began to make sense: star maps, energy sources, propulsion systems. It hinted at the possibility of reaching a planet capable of sustaining life, somewhere far beyond the maps humans had ever charted. Yet even as hope returned, doubt lingered. The universe was vast and indifferent. The Galactic Coalition had exiled them, labeling humanity as dangerous and unpredictable. Other alien species might see them the same way. Survival was never guaranteed. Alara walked along the observation deck, gazing at the stars. Each point of light represented a world, a civilization, or a danger unknown. She placed a hand on the railing, feeling the hum of the ship beneath her. "We are alone," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. "But we are not defeated. The stars may have cast us out, but they cannot erase us. Not while we breathe, not while we fight, not while we dream." Kieran joined her, holding the artifact carefully. "Captain, do you think the artifact wants to guide us? Or is it a warning?" Alara looked at him and smiled faintly. "Humans survive by turning danger into opportunity. If this artifact helps us, then we will use it. And if it warns us, we will learn from it. That is what makes us human." As the fleet drifted deeper into the unknown, the void stretched endlessly around them. They had no home to return to, no allies to count on. Yet within each ship, in every heart, burned a stubborn flame. It was the flame of survival, courage, and hope. The Lyran fleet moved steadily through the uncharted void, engines glowing faintly against the blackness of space. The artifact Kieran had found aboard the abandoned station rested on the Odyssey's navigation deck, pulsing softly with energy. Its knowledge had already begun to guide them, helping plot safer courses through the dangerous regions of the galaxy. Captain Alara Venn studied the star charts with a mixture of hope and caution. The artifact hinted at something astonishing, a path that could lead them back to Earth itself. Long forgotten by generations born among the stars, Earth was still humanity's cradle, the one world that might welcome them after all they had endured. "It's risky," Relo said, leaning over the navigation console. "The path is long, full of gravitational anomalies in sectors we have no data on. We could be traveling for cycles without finding safe harbor." Alara nodded. "Every great journey has risk, Lieutenant. We've survived worse. This path, it may be the only one that brings us home." Kieran adjusted the artifact's settings, aligning it with their fleet's navigation system. "I think it can guide us through hidden routes, areas where alien patrols are less likely to find us, sectors others avoid. It's like the universe is showing us a secret way." The fleet accelerated, weaving carefully through nebulae that shimmered in strange colors. Aeon storms crackled around them, threatening to fry systems and blind their sensors. Smaller ships struggled in the turbulence, but the Lyrans pressed on. During one long shift, Kieran spotted something unusual. A faint distress signal flickered across his console, a weak, broken message from a distant human settlement. "Captain, I think someone is out there," he said. "Humans, or at least something left of them." Alara's eyes sharpened. "Can we reach them?" Kieran nodded. "Possibly, but the signal is unstable. It could be a trap. Or survivors." Alara paused. "We help. Humans don't abandon each other. That's who we are." The fleet changed course toward the faint signal. As they approached, the team realized the settlement was ancient and partially destroyed, orbiting a dying planet. Rusted satellites and derelict ships floated in space, remnants of a human colony that had failed long ago. Landing shuttles touched down carefully on the planet's sparse surface. The air was thin, the temperature harsh but breathable. The survivors, descendants of a long-lost expedition, were few and fragile. They had survived on ingenuity and resourcefulness, but their civilization had crumbled under isolation. Alara met with their leader, a grizzled engineer named Thane. "We were cast out," he said quietly, "but we survived. Barely. You look like us, but stronger, smarter, faster." Relo's brow furrowed. "We're all the same, Thane. Humans survive because we adapt, because we fight when others surrender." The young prodigy, Kiran explored the settlement with the children, showing them how to repair old systems and revive generators. This is just the beginning, he told them. Humanity doesn't give up. We never will. For a few cycles, the Lyrans stayed. They repaired the settlement, taught survival skills, and shared knowledge from the artifact. But Earth was calling. The fleet could not linger forever. Before departing, Alara stood with Thane on the ruined platform. We're going home, she said. And when we get there, we bring hope. Hope for everyone who was left behind, for everyone who was cast out. The journey to Earth was long and perilous. The fleet navigated through sectors controlled by alien patrols, each encounter testing their courage and ingenuity. In one region, a black hole twisted spacetime, threatening to pull them into its event horizon. Kiran's calculations, combined with the artifact's guidance, allowed the fleet to slingshot around it, turning a potential disaster into a narrow escape. We've done it, Kiran whispered, awe in his voice. We've escaped death itself, Alara smiled. Not death itself, just another test. And we passed. Tensions arose during the journey. Some of the older crew members feared the long path, the unknown dangers, and whispered about surrendering to a hidden planet to hide. Others, however, wanted to fight, to push through the void and claim the home they had lost. Arguments flared, but Alara's leadership kept the fleet together. You can fight fear, she told them one night over comms. You can face despair, but never let it control you. We are humans. Alone, yes, but strong. Together, unstoppable. Remember that. Kiran discovered that the artifact did more than guide. They could use it to manipulate energy flows, power systems efficiently, and even detect threats before they appeared. Slowly, it became a symbol of hope, a reminder that the universe might test them, but it could also be guided by their intelligence and courage. Days blurred into cycles. The fleet passed barren worlds, gas giants, and rogue comets. Every ship faced mechanical failures, radiation storms, and shortages of essential supplies. Yet each time, human ingenuity found a solution. Engineers repaired engines using scavenged parts. Pilots used daring maneuvers to navigate storms. Scientists found ways to purify water and extend rations. And each time, the artifact offered guidance, revealing knowledge the Lyrans would otherwise never have discovered. One night, Kiran called Alara to the observation deck. Captain, I see it. Earth. Alara's breath caught. She had studied star charts her whole life, dreamed of seeing her original home, but this view was more than maps or data. It was a pale blue dot hanging in the black, vibrant and alive, promising safety and reunion. Rilo stood beside her, speechless. The fleet followed, entering the solar system cautiously, sensors alert for any threats. Yet there was nothing. No alien patrols, no immediate danger. For the first time in years, the Lyrans felt hope, but Earth was not entirely as they remembered. Civilization had changed in their absence. Cities were larger, technology more advanced, defenses in place. The planet had learned from the history of humans scattered across the galaxy. Caution, preparation, vigilance. And the Lyrans were unknown. To Earth, they could be a threat. Alara knew this. We must show them who we are, she said quietly. Not with weapons, not with force. With our hearts, our minds, and our courage. That is what makes humans human. The fleet began descent toward Earth's orbit. As they approached, communications from the planet came through. Careful, measured, cautious. Earth's leaders demanded identification, origin, and purpose. Alara replied simply, We are your people, cast out, exiled, but still human. We come seeking home. The tension was palpable. For moments that felt like eternities, the Lyrans waited. The fleet remained ready for flight, engines humming softly. Then, after hours of uncertainty, Earth responded. A slow, deliberate opening. They were permitted to descend. Not freely, but with observation, caution, and rules. Alara exhaled, feeling relief mingled with pride. Humanity had endured. They had survived the void, faced alien threats, discovered ancient technology, and navigated perils that would have broken lesser civilizations. And now, Earth awaited. Kiran looked out the window, eyes wide. Captain, we're home. Alara smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the blue planet. Yes, but home is not just a place. It's what we do to deserve it. And we are about to show Earth what it means to be human. As the fleet entered the upper atmosphere, the Lyrans gazed at the cities, forests, and oceans below. Earth had endured while they were gone. And now they would rejoin it, not as lost exiles, but as survivors, as pioneers, as humans who had refused to vanish. The journey through the void had forged them. Every failure, every challenge, every life saved or lost had strengthened them. They were not just returning, they were returning transformed. And in that transformation lay the essence of humanity. Intelligence, courage, hope, and an unbreakable will to endure. Alara looked at Kieran, then at Relo, then across the fleet. "Prepare for landing," she commanded. "We have a home to reclaim." Earth stretched beneath the Lyran fleet like a living jewel. Blue oceans, green continents, and cities sparkling with light reminded the exiles of everything they had lost, and everything they hoped to reclaim. But even as the ships descended toward orbit, Captain Alara Venn knew that returning home would not be simple. Generations had passed. The humans on Earth had changed, and they did not yet know the Lyran story. Communications from Earth's orbital command crackled through the fleet's channels. "Identify yourselves," a calm, authoritative voice demanded. "State your origin and purpose." Alara took a deep breath and pressed the communicator. "We are human, from the Lyra 9 colonies. We were exiled by the Galactic Coalition. We seek only refuge and to reunite with our species." There was silence. Then Earth's response: "We will evaluate your claims. Proceed to the designated docking zones. Do not deviate. Any unauthorized action will be considered hostile." The Lyrans adjusted course and followed Earth's instructions. Alara knew their actions in the next moments would decide whether they were welcomed or turned away. The fleet moved carefully, showing discipline and unity, a testament to the training and hardship endured in exile. Once in orbit, Earth's authorities dispatched observation ships to inspect the Lyran fleet. The humans on those ships had never seen their kin before. They were astonished at the technology the exiles carried, the efficiency of their operations, and, most importantly, their calm under pressure. Kieran stood beside Alara on the Odyssey's bridge. "Captain, they're observing us. Every movement. They're cautious, but curious." "I think they're impressed," Alara nodded. "Good. Let's show them humanity's best side. Not through weapons, but through knowledge, skill, and courage." The first test came sooner than expected. A massive storm had formed along the eastern seaboard of Earth, stronger than any meteorological system in recorded history. Winds of incredible speed threatened cities, ports, and millions of lives. Alara's eyes sharpened. "We helped them," she said. "That is our proof. Humans protect humans." The fleet split into teams. Smaller ships aided evacuation efforts using energy shields and advanced propulsion to rescue people from flooded cities. Kieran and a team of engineers worked with Earth scientists, deploying drones to stabilize energy grids and prevent widespread blackouts. On the ground, the children of the Lyran exiles assisted in shelters, teaching Earth's youth how to manage limited resources and use ingenuity to solve immediate problems. Despite language differences and cultural shifts, the common thread was clear. Humans understood each other. The storm raged for hours. The Lyrans coordinated with Earth's authorities, sharing technology and knowledge to maximize rescue efforts. Their experience surviving in the void gave them the edge. They knew how to conserve energy, repair failing systems, and adapt in extreme conditions. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Relo oversaw orbital operations, calculating trajectories to safely deploy relief supplies and medical aid. His voice remained calm over comms, giving orders, offering reassurance, and solving problems as they arose. "We're not here to conquer," Relo reminded Earth's command. "We are here to save lives." By the end of the storm, thousands of people had been rescued and damage minimized. The Lyrans had demonstrated their value, not through force but through courage, skill, and intelligence. Afterward, Earth's officials held a council with Alara and her senior officers. The skepticism remained, but respect had grown. "Your actions today saved countless lives," one official said. "You have proven you are human and worthy of trust. But questions remain. Why did you leave? Why were you exiled? And what threat, if any, do you pose to Earth now?" Alara spoke with calm authority. "We were exiled because others feared us. The Galactic Coalition called us dangerous, unpredictable. We were cast out, yes, but we survived. We learned, we grew, and we endured. Our only desire now is to reunite with our species to help and protect our home. That is all." Kieran stepped forward, holding the artifact. "And we bring knowledge," he added. "Knowledge of the stars, of energy, and of survival. We do not come as invaders. We come as humans who refuse to vanish. Earth's council exchanged looks. The weight of history and caution still lingered, but the evidence was clear. These were their kin, humans who had endured exile, survived unimaginable dangers, and returned not for conquest but to help. Still, there was one final test. Reports came from Earth's scientific satellites. A massive asteroid, larger than any recorded, was on a collision course with a densely populated continent. Humanity had the technology to destroy it, but failure would result in catastrophic loss of life. Alara turned to Rilo. This is our chance, not to prove ourselves by words but by action. The fleet is ready, Rilo nodded. Ready, the Lyrans moved into position. Using the artifact, Kieran calculated a series of precise energy pulses, using the fleet's engines to generate a gravitational assist. It was a complex maneuver, something Earth scientists had not attempted before. Every second counted. Steady, Alara whispered, watching the asteroid grow on the sensors. Steady. The asteroid entered Earth's atmosphere. Energy beams fired from the fleet, guided by Kieran's calculations, striking critical points. Shrapnel exploded in controlled bursts, redirecting the mass away from cities. The world watched in awe as the asteroid split, harmless fragments falling harmlessly into oceans and deserts. Humanity had been saved, not by Earth's technology alone, but by the ingenuity and courage of the exiles. Earth's leaders were stunned. Scientists and engineers approached the Lyrans, eager to study the methods, the calculations, and the artifact. Alara smiled but remained focused. This is not about praise, she said. It is about survival. And now humans on Earth can see what we are capable of, not just for ourselves, but for all humanity. Over the following cycles, the Lyrans worked alongside Earth's people to rebuild damaged infrastructure, integrate knowledge from the artifact, and teach techniques of survival and innovation learned over years of exile. They shared strategies for energy efficiency, starship engineering, and resource management. Kieran became a symbol of the new generation, human curiosity, intelligence, and courage in one. Children and adults alike followed his lessons, learning how to face challenges with skill and calm determination. Alara knew the challenge was not over. Humanity had survived exile, but trust was fragile. The Galactic Coalition was still out there, and other alien powers might see the return of the Lyrans as a threat. But for the first time in decades, the exiles felt a sense of belonging. Earth was their home once again, and they had earned it, not through violence but through courage, intelligence, and action. One evening, Alara stood on a balcony overlooking a restored city. The lights below shimmered like stars reflected on the ocean. Beside her, Kieran and Rilo joined, silent in reflection. We made it, Kieran said softly. Alara smiled, her eyes distant. Yes, but the journey is far from over. Earth welcomes us now, but the universe still waits. And one day it will test humanity again. Rilo placed a hand on her shoulder. Whatever comes, Captain. Humans are ready. We survived the void. We faced exile, and we returned. That proves something, Alara nodded. It proves everything. Humans endure. Humans survive. Humans protect each other, and we rise even when cast out. That is our strength. The fleet, once weary and hunted, now orbited Earth with purpose. Repairs were complete, alliances forming, and the first steps toward reintegration were underway. The Lyrans were no longer exiles. They were heroes, teachers, and protectors. The Lyran fleet floated above Earth, no longer a hunted remnant but a symbol of endurance and hope. Ships that had once survived ambushes, storms, and starvation now gleamed in the sunlight. Their crews weary but proud. Humanity had faced exile yet returned stronger than before. And now, Earth awaited the final proof of what it meant to be human. Trust, unity, and the courage to rise together. Captain Alara Venn stood on the Odyssey's bridge, gazing at the planet below. Cities sparkled like scattered gems, rivers glittered with reflected sunlight, and forests stretched endlessly. But beneath the beauty, Earth's leaders still hesitated. Generations had passed since humans first left for the stars, and now their kin had returned, bearing knowledge and technology long thought lost. Alara turned to Kieran and Rilo. The first step is always the hardest, she said quietly. We must show Earth that humans who were cast out can not only survive, but also help our species thrive. Kieran adjusted the artifact on the console, its soft glow pulsing with energy. We have the knowledge to help. Energy systems, navigation, agriculture, even health. We can make Earth stronger. Rilo nodded. And that's just the start. Once Earth trusts us, we can begin preparing humanity for the stars again. The first stage of reintegration focused on collaboration. Earth scientists and engineers met with the Lyrans to exchange knowledge. Workshops were held on energy efficiency, propulsion systems, and survival techniques developed during their exile. Children were encouraged to learn from Kieran and other young exiles, blending curiosity with experience. Alara watched as humans from Earth and the exiled colonies worked together. She smiled, remembering the long journey that had brought them here. Fleeing from alien patrols, discovering the artifact, rescuing forgotten settlements, and surviving the void. Now humans who had once been strangers were united once more. Yet challenges remained. Not all on Earth were ready to accept the Lyrans. Political factions debated their arrival, some wary of potential threats. Rumors spread of hidden powers and secret knowledge brought by the artifact. Alara knew that proving trust would require action, not words. The opportunity came sooner than expected. Reports from Earth satellites showed an approaching storm of unprecedented scale, a series of massive solar flares threatening global communications and power grids. Earth systems could not withstand the flares without outside assistance. Alara's eyes narrowed. We help. That is our proof. The fleet coordinated with Earth's authorities. Smaller ships equipped with energy deflectors and shield arrays positioned themselves in orbit to absorb the brunt of the solar flares. Kieran worked with Earth scientists to redirect power surges and stabilize vulnerable grids. Engineers from both sides raced to deploy protective technology, guided by calculations derived from the artifact. For days, the Lyrans labored alongside Earth's people. Tension and fatigue weighed on every crew member, yet the determination to protect their home and kin never wavered. And when the solar flares finally struck, the fleet's combined efforts successfully minimized damage. Cities that would have gone dark remained lit. Communications stayed operational and lives were protected. Alara allowed herself a moment of relief. Humanity survives, she whispered, because we never give up. Because we care for each other. That is our strength. The successful defense cemented the Lyrans' place on Earth. Leaders who had doubted them now extended invitations to join councils, to advise on technology and defense. Scientists eagerly studied the artifact, gaining insights that had been lost to time, and children, inspired by the courage and knowledge of the Lyran exiles, looked to the future with wonder and hope. But it was not just technology or survival that proved humanity's triumph. It was character. Alara watched as her crew walked among Earth's people, sharing stories, teaching skills, and listening. The exiles had endured exile without bitterness, fought without cruelty, and returned not as conquerors but as protectors. That was the essence of human resilience. Kieran led a small group to repair and improve a network of Earth's satellites, using knowledge from the artifact. As he worked, a child approached him, eyes wide with curiosity. "Will humans go to the stars again?" the child asked. Kieran smiled, tapping the console to demonstrate a complex calculation. "Yes, and this time we'll go wiser, stronger, and together. Humans always find a way." Alara convened a council with Earth's leaders, her voice steady and firm. "We were exiled, yes," she began. "But exile did not break us. The void taught us, tested us, and strengthened us. Now we return, not to claim, but to share. Our knowledge, our skills, and our courage are yours. Humanity is greater when we unite, and the future will belong to those who dare to endure." The council nodded, understanding dawning across their faces. The exiles' actions had spoken louder than words. The storm, the asteroid defense, the guidance through the void, all of it proved one truth. Humanity's strength was not in weapons, or dominance, or isolation. It was in ingenuity, courage, and unity. Alara looked out at the horizon, the sun rising over vast oceans. "We are home," she whispered. "But this home is only the beginning. Humanity must rise again, together, stronger than ever." In the following cycles, Earth integrated the Lyran exiles into society. New projects were initiated, advanced propulsion systems to explore the stars, energy grids powered by previously unknown technology, and education programs blending Earth's traditions with the survival knowledge gained in exile. Humanity was no longer scattered or divided. It was becoming whole once more. Kieran marveled at the progress. "We learned so much out there," he said. "But what we've learned here, this is even more powerful. Trust, cooperation, hope." Alara smiled. "Yes, that is the essence of being human. Knowledge can be taught, courage can be inspired, but hope is something you carry no matter how dark the void may seem." Relo joined them, nodding toward the fleet orbiting above. "Captain, the artifact. It guided us through the stars. But now humanity is guiding itself. That is more powerful than any technology." Alara's eyes softened. "We were cast out by the stars. The universe tested us, but Earth embraced us home. And now, humanity is ready for whatever comes next." The Lyrans began teaching future generations the lessons learned from exile, how to survive in harsh environments, how to think creatively under pressure, how to protect life, and how to trust in the bonds of kinship. Slowly, a new vision of humanity emerged, one that was fearless, intelligent, and compassionate. And yet, even as Earth thrived, Alara knew the stars still waited. Out there, civilizations watched, some curious, some cautious. The Galactic Coalition, which had exiled the Lyrans, might still see humanity as a threat. But Earth and its returned children were ready. They had survived the void, mastered unknown technology, and proven their courage. Alara gathered her senior officers on the observation deck of the Odyssey. The sun reflected off the ocean far below, and the horizon seemed endless. "We came from exile," she said, her voice calm but filled with strength. "We were hunted, alone, and tested by the universe. We survived. We endured. And now we rise not just to survive, but to lead, to inspire, and to protect." Kieran, standing beside her, nodded. "The void taught us many things," he said. "But the greatest lesson is this: humanity cannot be defeated when we unite. That is why we endure, and that is why we will thrive." Relo added, "The stars may challenge us again, but now, Earth is our base, our people are united, and humanity has proven it can rise above exile, above fear, above despair. Nothing can stop us now." Alara looked down at the blue planet, her heart swelling with pride. For the first time in generations, humans were truly whole. The exiles, once cast out and hunted, were now heroes and teachers. Earth had embraced them, and in doing so, humanity had been reminded of its true strength: courage, ingenuity, unity, and hope. The Lyrans gazed at the stars above, the same stars that had once cast them into darkness, but now they saw opportunity, not fear. They saw adventure, not despair. They saw a future where humanity could rise higher than ever before, reaching the stars not as scattered exiles, but as a united, enduring species. Alara whispered almost to herself, "We are home, and the universe will never forget what humans are capable of." The Lyran fleet shone above Earth, a testament to survival, to resilience, and to hope. And as the people of Earth welcomed them, humanity looked forward together, stronger, wiser, and ready to meet the challenges of the stars. For the first time in generations, humans understood the truth of their own spirit. They could be cast out by the stars, yet they would endure. They could be tested by the universe, yet they would rise. And no matter what came next, humanity would always find a way.